Welcome to Red V TV, supported by Chapel House for the 2023 season. As we continue our build-up to the new campaign, and we've only 6 days to go, it is the turn of our number 6, Kevin.
It's the mercurial, it's Jackson Hastings' favourite Super League player. It's the wonderful Jonny Lomax. And Jonny is proudly sponsored by LPL Building Services.
LPL Building Services is an electrician from Orrell Road in Wigan. If you need anyone for your electrical needs. I still can't believe we can't buy Jonny Lomax pyjamas yet, Kev.
What, they're missing out of the club shop. They're missing out. Yeah, that's it. He's such a clever player, such a tremendous player. We should be adorning the club shop with Jonny Lomax pyjamas, t-shirts, whatever you want. Made his face and his name and number set should be on them.
He has got the Lomax factor, Kevin.
He has got the Lomax factor. He has. He's last season carrying us one-armed through the season. Hasn't even had an operation on that bicep. It's just healed itself. What a player. What an absolute player. And I think it's only fair that you speak about people in these terms, but once he retires and you start looking at your best players who have played in the halfbacks at Saints, this man has 100% got to be in that conversation.
Kev, is it fair to say that the decision of Jonny and the club to take the decision not for him to go for surgery last season was an absolutely crucial factor in us being able to go 4 in a row? Yes,
I think it literally cemented us going 4 in a row. I think if there'd have been another decision made, which might have been better for Jonny, who knows? I don't know what kind of complications may come of the injury that he's had. But I think if he'd have gone and had surgery, I think we'd have struggled a hell of a lot more. And I think a lot of that is reflected in the fact he won Player of the Year at Saints last year. The fact that he could still manage us through them games, and he managed himself through that injury, so selfless. If a different decision had been made, I don't think we'd be talking about Saints going 4 in a row and looking at 5.
Now, Jonny is a player who did have injury problems earlier in his career. Obviously, he had knee surgery, 15 appearances in 2014, 5 in 2015, and 18 in 2016. But then coming back from that, 30 appearances 2019, 21 in 2020, 23 in 2021, and 30 appearances last season. I think he's a model for when we get on to talking about Percy. When people have talked about Percy not having his injury issues, wanting rid, it's like, really? Imagine if we'd have took that decision with Jonny Lomax 5 or 6 years ago. It'd be absolutely outrageous.
Mate, there's a couple that you would say this, and it's almost like people don't think at times. People don't think that there's a person on the other end of a decision like that. And if you do that, if you make a decision like that, what does it say for anybody coming into your club? If you get injured, you're just going. We're not going to show any loyalty to you, and then we would expect that loyalty back. But you're right. People talk about kind of letting players go. If you did that after every serious injury, we wouldn't have Jonny playing for us. We wouldn't have Mark Percival playing for us. We probably wouldn't have Tommy Makinson playing for us. We wouldn't have Alex Walmsley playing for us.
We wouldn't have Will Hopewati playing for us.
We wouldn't have Will Hopewati playing. The list just keeps going on and on and on. Because you might turn around and people might go, "Oh, no, you don't get rid of Alex Walmsley." Well, why do you then pigeonhole the others? It's absolutely nonsensical to me, that. Absolutely nonsensical. And you know what? While Jonny had his injury problems and he didn't play as many games, that may, in a kind of roundabout way, help him as he goes on in his career, because he's not had that workload. Yeah, he's had the rehab and he's had to get his body back stronger. but actually the physical workload of running at the line in Super League and tackling second rowers as they're coming at him or whatever, he's not had that. So it may help him as he goes on that he's going to be, I'll name a footballer, the Teddy Sheringham type footballer who plays on and can play on a little bit longer just because he's clever, and a lot of what he does is completely up here and he sees it all before it happens.
Yeah, and you're quite right with that. And obviously, he doesn't rely on the lightning quick pace anymore. Yeah, he was quick early in his career. He relies now on his brain and being those 2 seconds ahead. He's contracted until the end of 2024. And at this moment in time, you'd have to say there's no reason why he won't be able to go on a little bit longer than that and maybe have one more deal at the end of that coming out of him.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Really wouldn't. If he keeps himself in a good shape, and it might be that he drops down and maybe he is one of them that comes in for the big games. We've spoke about James Roby doing that, and you wrap him up in cotton wool, you bring the next player through, whether that's Danny Moss or someone like that, but you bring him through. But Jonny comes in and sits beside Lewis Dodd and sits beside Danny Moss and gets them through games. But also, for the games that he's not needed, go and put your feet up, Jonny.
Or, given we hear so much about his great rugby brain, go and sit in the coaching booth alongside Mr. Wellens.
Well, exactly. He can still put his feet up. He's just got to keep his brain working. Yeah, there was he did the aftermatch, didn't he? Was that last season or the season before?
Season before at the Sky Screen. Yeah,
and he was telling him like what he'd saw and literally saying, "This is what I've seen." The defensive line on that. The defensive line wasn't set. It was just getting back. He's already seen the play. He's already seen what's going on. So having him as part of the Saints coaching setup can only be good for the club. If that's what he chooses to do, and we're talking about something that should only happen in a good few years' time, but with a player like him, with him on the park and with him off the park, he's vital to this club.
Yeah. And listen, if we're going to go 5 in a row, Jonny, again, is going to be a key man in that.
Yeah, he definitely is. He definitely is. I think the only thing that I would say against him is please unblock me at Kev Pender on Twitter. Please unblock me. I don't know why you've blocked me. Please unblock me.
He just doesn't like you, Kev. We must have been asking 5 years why he's blocked you. You don't get to see his brilliant tweets.
No.
One day, Kevin.
One day.
You're even wearing like begging bowl t-shirts.
I know.
Offer to make him one if he unblocks you.
Yes. Yeah. We'll get it sorted for him.
We'll doorstep him outside the ground. Why am I blocked?
Why am I blocked?
With your trench coat on.
Well, maybe not.
Well, I don't want to see you without it. Right. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll catch you tomorrow for another episode of Red V TV.